What's going on, everybody? Welcome back in the Pursuit of Wealth. It's Rod with Pow Group, your home for MJ Stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Today is Friday, and happy Halloween. It's October 31st. Hope you're well. In this video, we're going to be discussing VivoPower. We're going to take a look at VVPR and the price chart, what to expect in terms of the technicals and the price action in the days, weeks, months ahead. And we'll discuss why the stock was crashing today. It was down about 40%. It has since recovered after hours. It was up about 6% last time I checked, around $3.13, but it was down about 40% at the lowest here today. And I'll discuss why I think it was down. I wasn't seeing any like specific news pieces or anything like that. I think it has to do with something else that had to do with XRP and ETFs getting approved in the US. Before we get to it, make sure to smash the like. If you're new, you can subscribe, take the bell, all that good stuff. You'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. And as always, this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. And full disclosure, I do own it in my portfolio. I just added VVPR twice today. I added it around, I think it was once around just under $4 and then once just under $3. Didn't expect it to get down under $3, so that was to my surprise. And like I said, I was looking to add a few more times. It's not a huge position for me. It's a super long-term hold, but I do like how it gives you indirect access to Ripple private equity, into Ripple the company, and then also into XRP, the digital asset. So I do have a lot of XRP. I'm not looking for any additional XRP holdings at this point. I did buy a little bit of the spot ETF in Canada, but like I said, I've got so many just that I'm holding XRP itself in cold storage and on my Tangent wallet that I'm good for that. And then I posted this video right here, VivoPower, indirect access to Ripple private equity and also XRP. So if you haven't seen that, you can check it out, but it's a great way to get exposure without being accredited, right? Because we know they're making big investments in treasury asset into XRP and investments into Ripple private equity. So I am adding, and like I said, I added a couple more times today. I might look to add maybe 2 or 3 more times at the most, but I do like being able to hold it within a registered plan. But again, don't buy or sell anything based on anything that I say or write. This is for entertainment purposes only. But this was the only article that I found today. VivoPower's Tembo to accelerate Africa expansion, definitive agreement with AVA, East Africa's largest vehicle assembler. And as you can see, that was dated today, October 31st. If anybody else has seen any news, please let me know, but I'm pretty sure it is because of this reason here. Canary Capital files an S1, an updated S1 for its XRP spot ETF, removing the delaying amendment to enable auto-effective registration with the launch date set for November 13th. So a lot of people are kind of caught off guard by this because the government has been shut down, and the HBAR ETF went live, and that ticker is HBR, and that is now trading. So a lot of people were confused. There was the CEO of Canary Capital was on multiple different interviews, and people were saying like, how did you get this launched without the government, when the government shut down? And he basically said that they removed that amendment, that delay amendment. So effectively they were able to launch it right away because of the new rules that the SEC created, these new rules and guidelines for ETFs. So they were able to launch it right away and fast track that. So that's what I think is happening here with XRP. They're going to launch this more than likely within the next couple of weeks. Keep in mind that it usually takes about a week or two for it to go live. But like I said, HBAR was that one was record timing. But we have HBAR. We also have the Litecoin ETF, spot ETF from Canary as well. So that's LTCC. And so we have those two, and now we're looking at XRP. So what is the significance of this? Well, again, if I go back to what I was saying about in this video here, that indirect access to Ripple equity and also XRP, there's a lot of people in the US who can't buy XRP in a registered plan, right? Because there's no spot ETF in the US, or they don't feel, and you're not able to do it with just direct holding the actual XRP token itself. So this gives you a wrapper and an ETF where you can put it in, you can access it. Every Joe and Jane can access it on their exchange. So just whatever traditional broker that you're in. So again, it's going to, I think, take away from some of the attraction of VVPR right now. It doesn't mean that there's no value in VVPR at the moment. I just mean that it's certainly, people are kind of, I would say, probably just parking their money in cash, waiting for this XRP ETF to go live, and then they're just going to buy the ETF directly. And keep in mind, it takes a couple of days for it to settle, so that makes sense to me that they would sell before the weekend. It would be settled by next week, and then maybe next week, the week after, we see it go live, and then funds are all settled and ready to go. They're available and free. They can purchase the XRP spot ETF. So that's what I think is going on. I think it's just the fact that, like I said, this ETF is going live, and VVPR is no longer going to act as a proxy. It should, though, because, like I said, XRP ETF going live, but Ripple, the company, it's going to be a while. They haven't even announced an IPO yet. So if they do IPO in the US, it's going to be a while. And then, you have to buy it after it launches on the exchange and it IPOs. And typically what happens after a big IPO, price skyrockets, right? Just look at Coinbase. When it launched, price was skyrocketing and it was through the roof. And then as soon as it launched, crashed like 70 or 80%, I think it was. So it's going to happen. And like I said, I think the only saving grace here is that, like I said, you'll still get indirect access to Ripple private equity, even with the XRP spot ETF going live. So that's what I think caused the massive sell-off today. And we did have the S&P 500 a little bit weak at one point, and we did have some turbulence in the crypto space. So just kind of adding to the fire and more risk-off appetite, if you will. But again, I really believe that it had to do with the fact that we see these ETFs going live soon. But on the daily time frame, I did mention that we had a descending triangle with a target of 377, and we actually broke out of that and then didn't get much of any kind of uptrend here. We kind of back within that range and then right down to that measured move and target and then some. So it's overshot that by quite a large margin now. And if we zoom out here to the monthly time frame, it's actually monthly consolidation, and we just have to blow this up here because the all-time high was like a different planet away. We did do a reverse split as well. It did a 1 for 10. But if you just take a look at the monthly time frame, we're starting monthly consolidation. This is the first time we really consolidated since all the way down at 61 cents, right? All this move has come off of the low. So we have our low, high. We're finally starting monthly consolidation, which is the first time in 8 months. So I don't think there's any major red flags or anything like that right now. We could see an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross as well, which would be the first time since summer of 2020. And it's looking like that bull cross could occur really any month now over the next couple of months. And with the FOMC continuing to cut rates and more than likely going to be a few more cuts, a series of cuts, you're going to see all these spot ETFs go live. You're going to see Clarity Act and the final piece of the puzzle for legislation and regulation for the crypto space. So that is what I think is going to ignite this market over the course of the next couple of months. And I do believe that it could spill into the second quarter of 2026. But as you can see, we're up right now. We're over a little over 5% here after hours, sitting at $3.10. So we could see a little bit more downside. We could still see an EMA 12 and 26 bear cross, and keep in mind that it's going to be a week or two more than likely before the XRP spot ETFs go live. And then once Canary goes live, there's going to be I think there's 19 of them total. So there's going to be so many XRP ETFs just in the US go live alone. But yeah, we could see a little bit of turbulence and weakness over the next week or two because of this EMA 12 and 26 bear cross. And we're heading to weekly oversold, which would be the first time since January of this year in 2024. So, like I said, could see a little bit more weakness here on the horizon over the next week or two. And we're still sort of within this, the crypto space is still within that liquidation range that we saw, that the biggest liquidation event in history a couple weeks ago, and is still trading within that range. So the market's still trying to kind of get its feet from under it and figure out what is the next move. So, and then the government's still shut down. Once we get the Clarity Act really start to gain popularity and media attention, that's when I think we're going to be off to the races. But yeah, it's pretty bearish here at the moment. Let's see if we have any bear flags on the shorter term time frame. Yeah, that hourly time frame was just absolutely nasty. If we take a look at the 30-minute, yeah, even on the 30-minute, it was basically just a complete elevator shaft down. So we do have a 15-minute bear flag here at the moment. I would go from, whoops, let me get rid of that. Sure what happened there. Let's get rid of that. So grab our fib tool and look at this 15-minute bear flag. Oops. It's the 30-minute, 15-minute, perfect. So we just take our measured move there from the high to the low, and then we'll move it out to our 0.32, and that'll give us our measured move. So yeah, we could see it's saying 162. I highly doubt that is the case based on how beaten down we are, but you have to prepare for anything. Anything's possible at this point. But yeah, like I said, not the most likely scenario in my opinion. But I'll more than likely add if we get, like I said, I added close to around $3 there. It was the last time I added today. So if we get to 250, I might add again, $2, etc. Not expecting this to be the most likely scenario though after the day we had and just how oversold we are in a lot of these different time frames. But we did have a pretty big warning sign here. We had a bearish triple thunder crossover. The price lost the 10-week moving average. Stochastic and MACD were bearish as well. And then on the weekly time frame, we bumped our head right at the 200 weekly, and then we came back down perfectly on the 100 weekly there at 268. So we back tested that, and it's holding as support. So that's a positive sign in the face of all this kind of this brutal pullback and red that we've seen today. Also lost all of the daily moving averages, and we could be due for a death cross here over the next couple of weeks. So again, adding a little bit more bearish momentum and lean to where we're heading here in the short term. All right, going to end it there though. Like I said, I don't think there's anything major to worry about. There wasn't any news piece that I saw. If you came across anything, please let me know. But as far as I'm aware, there's no major red flags here whatsoever. I still think it's a great addition. Obviously, don't buy or sell anything again because I say or write about it. Do your own due diligence and research. This is for entertainment purposes only. But I do think that this is still a great bet long term and still indirect access to Ripple private equity. And like I said, it's a win-win-win, right? You're getting to invest in VVPR, and then you have indirect access to XRP with a treasury asset, and then also Ripple, the company, private equity. So I do think that overall, this is still a good bet long term, and I'm buying at these levels. So people have been asking me today, is it still a buy, right? When something's down 40%, people are like, well, I was thinking about buying, but it's down 40% in a day. Now I'm kind of thinking there might be something, there might be something bad that happened, or maybe, the company's going insolvent, or people start to think some pretty crazy things. So I'm glad we were patient. I know a lot of people in the Power Group private community, and myself included, we were looking at it when it was $4, $5, $6, and people were asking me if should just they were getting FOMO, fear of missing out. Should just buy it at $6? Should I just buy it at $5.50? And today was a great day to be rewarded from the patience that we had. So hopefully we're able to scoop it up around $3, and let me know if you bought today. All right, going into there, let me know what you think of this in the comment section, or if you came across any other news that may have contributed to the downfall today. All right, once again, happy Friday. It's Rod with Power Group. Thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth, and happy Halloween.